Folks, we got a red dot. Welcome back to Akron's and Northeast Ohio's fastest growing show, 3:30 to go. I'm your host, Hank, and I'm coming to you live in studio, and we have a very special guest lined up for you today. Folks, 330, say hi. I'd like you to meet actor Scott Schwartz. Say hi, Scott, to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
All right, so Scott, so thanks for hopping on with us today. And for folks that don't know, if you don't recognize him in the most recent movie, you will know Scott from his child acting days as Flick. He's the famous Triple Dog Dare actor that was the actual actor that touched his tongue to the pole during the movie that has become the iconic scene that everybody uses for forever. All right. So first question, Scott. So tell us, did you actually do that, and did it actually happen that way?
No, they it was a real pole, but they put a piece of plastic over it. They taped it, and they painted it and did all of that to make it look like a real metal pole. They put a hole in it about the size of your pinky nail with a little tube, and it went down into the snow. And they had a like a Dirt Devil vacuum motor. So if you think of a vacuum with the hose and you just kind of get close to it, it goes and you just get stuck.
Right.
That's pretty much it.
So it was a really old school Hollywood effect.
Old school movie magic, you betcha.
So now, obviously, as we all come clean as adults now, I'd be lying if I said that I didn't try that at least once in my life. Now, typically you'll do it with like an ice tray, like one of those metal ice trays, right?
Or a spoon.
Or a spoon. And in reality, it really does work. It really
Yeah, I mean,
happens.
if people out there who want to try it and have a twisted sense of humor, you put the spoon in the freezer, but make sure you have a nice, good sized glass of hot water.
Yeah.
When you put the spoon on the end of your tongue, it's going to freeze basically instantly, and you cannot tear it off because it'll tear the skin right off your tongue. You just pour the hot water on it, and it'll come loose.
When it's the same thing, like if your hands are wet, like let's say you're doing the dishes and then you go and you grab that ice tray, it's the same thing. Like
Yep,
your fingers get
same
stuck.
thing.
So yeah, I mean, point being, we saw it happen, and of course, growing up, we had to try it. And the key is, kids, don't try that at home.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't try it.
All right, so obviously that's where we first got to know you, but you've had a whole lifetime since then. So why don't you tell us about, in the interim, what it is that you've done as far as career wise up to this point?
Well, I mean, right before Christmas Story, I did a film called The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. I played Jackie Gleason's son. Then
Okay.
I did a film called Kid Company, which, the star of it, that's what it is. That was on HBO Family and a bunch of other, DVD now, they got it out. But I mean, I continued to act. I did shows, 21 Jump Street, Rags to Riches, all kinds of stuff like that. Did, several movies after that. Then I got into other things. I was on the road with the WWF. I was free help for 18 months, ring crew guy, and I'd run to the airports, pick up the guys, bring them back to the hotel, and then to the arenas and so forth. Um, then I took a break and just went on the road for a while, which was kind of like my growing up time, whatever you want to call it, for 18 months. And then I went to California and just got back into acting, did some other film work and stuff. And, you find other jobs and other things to do. I did a lot of sports and movie memorabilia kind of stuff, buying and selling and autographs and all that. And then last year, after 39 years, they got the green light to do this nice movie, A Christmas Story Christmas. And it was an update on where everybody was, And so Ralphie's got a couple of kids, and Flick owns a bar, Flick's Tavern, and Scott Farkas is a cop. And I'm not going to tell you the rest of it. People who haven't seen it. It's on a streaming service, which right now I can't say the name because of the strike that's going on.
Sure.
But I've stayed busy. I've always found a way to make a living.
Well, real quick, WWF. What era was that? Who?
I was there September of '85 till January of '87.
Okay.
So it was, oh yeah, Randy Savage, Miss Elizabeth, Roddy Piper, Hogan. I picked up Andre one time from the hotel and had to bring him to Madison Square Garden.
That's a big guy.
That's a big dude, man. So I was there kind of during that golden era. You
Yeah.
know, Stephanie was like 10 or 12. And, you know, I mean, I met and saw Vince and talked to him. And Terry Funk was there, God rest his soul.
Yeah.
Oh God, Jake the Snake,
That's
you
awesome,
know,
man.
all those guys from that era, you know, I know, and a lot of them I'm still friends with if they're not gone. You know, Randy and Liz were I was very close with them. God rest both of them. I miss them. Uh, you know, but you know, Hogan I still talk to, and you know, Piper was like a second dad. We would talk at least once a month.
That's
You know,
awesome.
after you know I left. Um, but you know, the McMahon family was always really great to me. You know, they treated me like family, and they were always wonderful.
And it's interesting watching that whole arc in terms of the cycles, right? So that was that golden era. Then you had the whole NWO, WCW wars. Um,
You know, the
and
funny part is, I moved to California in '87, and my priorities were just different, so I wasn't into it.
yeah.
And it wasn't until, oh my goodness, like '91, and I still talked to at that point Bruce Beefcake,
Okay.
and they were going to be in San Diego. So he's like, "Oh, come on down, say hi." Okay, fine, you know. And went and sat down. And but then I didn't watch wrestling, wasn't into wrestling for many years. I missed the entire Attitude Era. I missed all of the single, you know, heterosexual male and dating and doing whatever. Um, and it really wasn't until goodness, like 13 or 14, um, met Jerry Lawler
Yeah.
and hit it off with him immediately. He's a big Christmas Story fan. I believe he's coming to the event in November. I'm not positive, but I think he is. And Jerry and I became fast friends. And he's like, "Oh, you got to come to Staples Center and come to an event." I was like, "Oh, I mean, I worked like 180 shows,
Yeah. And
you know, but
I don't know his whole backstory, but he's a big Cleveland fan too. Like
he's from Ohio.
yeah, so he's really into Cleveland everything.
Big Browns fan,
Yeah.
monster Browns fan.
Yeah. So
Loves everything Cleveland, loves Christmas Story, you know. But he kind of dragged me back into that world again, and it was great. I went to Staples Center for one of the pay-per-views, and I saw Stephanie, and she's like, "I know you."
that's
And then
awesome.
I, and then Linda McMahon was there. Linda saw me, and then she grabbed Vince and brought him over, and it was like a reunion of the crew guys and the guys that I worked with, ring crewing and all that. They were behind the scenes still after all those years, so it was like a homecoming and seeing cousins you hadn't seen in years and all that. Um, but beside that, I've stayed busy, you know, and taking care of life and live, and that's all you can do.
Well, and I love the fact that they did greenlight part two, and I mean, you
Took
know,
4 years.
obviously we grew up with it, right? And in my household, right, it was okay. Yes, we're going to watch it regularly, annually, but it became a thing now with me and my kids. Okay, so in other words, TBS does the 24-hour marathon, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we knew that at Christmas Eve that show was going to go on the TV, right?
Yep.
And so the kids have watched A Christmas Story with me now for 20 years, right? Um, Point being, it was really cool to see that experience and to then to watch part two. And we watched part two, of course, with the kids as well. And I've watched it 3 times now. The first time I watched it, it was just take it in, right? Just watch it and let the story happen. And of course we knew, like me and the wife were sitting there and like we know, oh look, oh here they come, oh here they come, you know. So, but then the second time I watched it, it was to get all the Easter eggs. It was like, okay, let's look at what they did now in this movie to bring back those parts of that first movie, and it was just wonderful to see all the little nuggets that were left in the second film that are part of the first movie. So when you guys went and did all that, like what was that like experiencing that and then being as adults in those same characters, just the fact that you have a bar and like how the lives have all gone different directions and all that sort of thing. What was all that like?
Um, Stepping back into Flick, I mean, you know, uh, I actually had an audition for the movie, believe it or not. I had an audition to be myself.
Okay.
It's really funny, but it was going to be 73-ish. That's about when the date is. I'm like, okay, it's Indiana. I'm a bar owner, and the only thing I could think of reflection wise was in the 70s, every bar owner was fat. They had a mustache and sideburns, and especially in the Midwest. So I was like, okay, so I grew everything and did all that. I was eating pasta like a maniac. It was great. I gained 25 pounds. And, but actually getting there, we shot the film in Sofia, Bulgaria. We were in Eastern Europe for about 10 days, 11 days when the war broke out in Ukraine.
Oh my
We
gosh.
were there right before that. So we get there and you start going through the hair and the makeup and I'm still friends with everybody. We've been friends all these years. So I've seen RD who played Schwartz and of course Peter and Zach and Yano and Ian. So I've seen all of them. But it's just different when you're standing. When I'm standing, the first thing I shot was I'm standing behind the bar and I'm looking at Ralphie and Schwartz. Okay. And my emotions got the better of me because I was very close with Bob Clark, our director.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to him, basically 3 days before he passed. I talked to him on Sunday and he had passed on a Wednesday. So I emotionally started getting weird. I was basically ready to cry, and I'm thinking, oh my God, Bob would have loved this. This is so great that we're doing this again and paying tribute. Um, it was a little weird, I guess you would say, emotionally, but professionally, you got to do what you got to do. You have to know your lines and hit your marks and do all those kinds of things.
Sure. Sure.
And it was sort of great because, like, I'll give you nuggets, okay? Behind me at the bar, there's a picture of me in an orange shirt, and there's a lady sitting next to me. That's my mom,
Okay.
like my real mom, because we never see Flick's mom in the first movie.
Right.
So anybody could have been mom. And I used a photo of me and my real mother. So she's actually got a little thing there, and it's right underneath the bar tabs.
Okay.
You know, uh, at the top of the bar in the middle, there's a sign, "In God We Trust, All Others Pay Cash," which is the Gene Shepard saying. And right below that, there's a picture of me and Miss Shields and Teddy Moore, who was the original Miss Shields. Now she's not in the sequel; she's not in this one, but there's a picture of me and her because I wanted her in it.
Okay. Okay.
There were those little things, but the nostalgic side of it, we all kind of knew there were things you had to bring into this. They had some of them. There was no question. They knew they had to put some things in the new one that reflected on the original. And we actually, myself especially, and especially Zach Ward, Scott Farkas, we both kind of said, "Hey, you're kind of missing a few things here." And at first they were like, and then they opened up to it, and everything worked out great.
Okay.
So stepping into that role again was just a lot of fun because Ralphie is a little more serious. He's a writer. He's got that family thing. Schwartz, he's got his own like personality, but and Scott Farkas is the bully. But Flick was the jokester. Flick's the fun one.
Sure.
So I was able to play with it and have fun with it. And the director that we had was great because he's like, listen, you've been doing this for all these decades and I haven't, but I know what's written, but do your thing.
All right. So now here we are 40 years later, right? And we're coming up on the reunion. So how did this come to be? And give us the idea in terms of events, like what's going to be happening. I'm assuming you're going to be in the Cleveland area?
Yes, we're going to be at the Cleveland Public Auditorium.
Okay.
For the details on the event, it's Ralphie Comes Home is the name of the event because
Okay.
Peter's not been here in 40 years. But you go to clevelandfilm.com.
Okay.
Then just go to events and everything is there. There's going to be meet and greets and photo ops and autographs, and we've got a dinner function. And sponsorships are still available if somebody wants to be a sponsor. But it's the biggest cast reunion that we've ever done. There's at least 10, if not 11 cast members coming. Ralphie, Randy, Scott Farkas, Grover Dill, Flick, Schwartz, Black Bart, the two elves from Higbee's, and two of the girls from the Tongue on the Flagpole and Classroom Scene that have never done an appearance ever.
Oh,
So thank goodness for Facebook. We started a little group. I started a group, Christmas Story Cast, and it's just for us. So there's no fans or anything. It's just cast members, and they found us and hey, how you doing? And Monica and Jill are great ladies, and I say, listen, come out and support. They made $1. They volunteered. Their parents volunteered to do the movie. They got to sit in the classroom and be at the flagpole, and they got paid $1 Canadian.
that's crazy. So,
So, but there's going to be other things also for people to do their little opportunities. Uh, we're working on doing the bunny suit, and the head is open, and you can put your face in there. And then we're going to have a backdrop with the Higbees with Santa Mountain at the bottom. You can like just lay on the bottom of the slide that's there, and it looks like you just came down the Higbee slide. All kinds of fun stuff.
so it's the second weekend of November. Is that right?
November 10th, 11th, 12th.
Right.
The
Okay.
Cleveland Public Auditorium, and it's clevelandfilm.com.
Are you guys shooting over? I saw Zach's going to. Are you guys going to go to the Pittsburgh thing too, the Comic-Con, or is that
Yeah,
just
Steel City. Yeah, Steel
Okay.
City, because you guys are down that way. So yeah.
He's over that way. He's going that way. Yeah.
But there's going to be the boys will be there, but the rest of the cast will not. The biggest one is here in Cleveland,
Got it.
and then Steel City Con is in December.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
What's great is this particular one here in Cleveland. The Cleveland Film Commission is a nonprofit. They create opportunities and jobs for actors and so forth. They bring film and television into Ohio, whether it's the Cleveland area or maybe the Akron area. It's the state. They're a nonprofit, so part of the proceeds from all of this does actually go into that. And they help kids go through film school and all that kind of stuff. And we have the Cast Expo and behind the camera. Which we're going to have a panel.
I talked to the lady at Lock 3 about this yesterday. Lock 3 is the Akron downtown, our concert venue area, and she's the one that does. They do all those Higbee windows along Main Street, so she recreates all those. And I told you she's got a lot of the props from the original movie. Well, she's like, can you reach out and see if they can come down to Akron so we could recreate the picture of where they're pushing their face against the window?
It's just there's no time.
I know.
We got a pretty packed schedule. We were actually just going over the schedule before I came on with you.
I know.
So it's Thursday night we have a VIP dinner. Friday we've got the event, and we've got the behind the camera, all the meet and greet, all of that. Then it's the VIP behind the camera thing, and
Right.
Saturday it's signings. And
I figured it was, but she just brought it up to me. I'm like, I'll ask. So I get it.
No, it's like more or less. Why doesn't she bring some stuff up to Cleveland? We can have her talk to the people here, and she can, have a table and give flyers out or whatever. But she could set up a couple of window displays or something. I'm sure fans that would come here would love to see that.
Well, okay, so I got one more cast member to add for you. I don't know if he's reached out to you yet. Okay, so this was about a month ago, and I'm sitting there. And I'm in my office at home, and there's a knock on the door. All right. And I walk upstairs, and there's this old dude standing on my porch, and he goes, "Hey, are you part of that organization that's on the truck right there?" I go, "Well, yeah." I said, I'm one of the team. And he goes, "Well, last year Zach Ward was in town, and you guys took a picture in front of the movie theater, and I was in the picture with him." And he goes, "Let me show you something." And he pulls out his phone and he goes, da, 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 and he pulls up the scene from Christmas Story with Black Bart in the backyard and all that.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Paul. He was the upside down pole climber in the movie. He was in the movie as one of those bad guy burglars that the whole pushing up Daisy scene.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts, he's like, he's like, who do I even reach out to? I'm like, well, just reach out to Zach and go on up.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, it's kind of tough. I mean, I've met, several people along the way who were in the Higbee scene.
Right.
One of the guys was like, he was one of the Wizard of Oz monkeys. He's in the, in the suit.
Right.
I met him in Florida. Actually one of the, oh my goodness, I want to say Stephanie. She's the Channel 8 Fox reporter here in the morning. She's got the morning show here in Cleveland.
Okay.
Did the show yesterday, and her brother, when they were youngsters, are actually in the Higbee scene and have a picture of the two of them with Peter in the middle.
Well, so is Nikki. So Nikki, I'm part of the Browns team for the Portage Lakes Browns backers. I'm their MC and hype guy, and the bar owner Nikki was in that Higbee scene as a kid. So she brings it up. She brings it up all the time too. So I mean, the point is, you're obviously if stuff was filmed around here, and like we just did this not too long ago, Marvel did a big movie up in Cleveland, and there were thousands of extras, right? So I mean, it's so cool when stuff like that happens in our communities, and we're all able to be a part of it, and then you get a chance to meet them for the rest of your life, and you're like, hey, I was the monkey. They're like, hey, nice
You're
to
like,
meet
okay.
you. Congratulations. you know but yeah, so thank you so much for spending your time with us, and I think this is great. I wish you guys all the best. And for people that want to get involved, or if there's charities and donations and things that people can do, where you said the sites again.
The site is clevelandfilm.com.
Okay. And
And they have all the things for their donations, for the events. And of course, we're in the event thing for the Ralphie Comes Home weekend, November 10th, 11th, 12th, right in downtown Cleveland. And
is this in tandem with the film festival, or is this separate?
no, they are totally separate.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
we can't because of the strike.
right.
That's going on. We can't show the film. We can't do a Q&A with the film. We got an exemption to do the Q&A here for the sponsors and the kids because this was agreed to before the strike, and they understand what it is, and it's the nonprofit for the Cleveland Film Commission. So we got the exemption to do it, which was very nice of them.
Okay. Well, and we've been watching that because we run a movie review show here too, Rubber City Reviews, and obviously we've been very in tune with the strikes with both the writers and the actors. So I mean, it's a thing. It's a thing. So, and I know you probably can't comment on it, and that's fine. But
no, listen, I mean, the strike is the strike. I mean, at some point, there's a right and a wrong, and we all have to be decently compensated for our efforts, not stealing our images for AI and all these kind of things. The perception that most people have is that if you're in a movie, you're rich, you're famous, you don't need to work anymore. That's just not the case, gang. I'm a Jersey guy. I'm from New Jersey. I say it the way it is. I got paid $36,000 to do the movie A Christmas Story. After taxes, all the other things, agents, whatever. What do you end up with? It's not life-changing money. The one last year, I got paid $40,000. I got a 10% raise. It took me 39 years to get a 10% raise. But again, California, it's 9-10% state tax, federal tax, this fee, whatever. It's not life-changing money. It pays the mortgage for several months. Okay, fine. But it's certainly not life-changing. So the things that they're really fighting for, especially, is background people, lesser actors, not the big stars you see, not the Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnsons. That's not really who they're fighting for.
Right. I get it.
They're fighting for the average person that's in film and television.
And we've done our part on our end to try and explain that to our public, because of course, Facebook and Twitter comment sections are what they are, and so there's a lot of education that goes into basically saying exactly what you just said.
But you have to inform people. They just don't know. They sort of guess because all they see on social media and on the internet is these rich, famous stars.
Sure.
They don't see regular actors, character actors, people that have done 30, 40 shows, whatever it is, who are just working people. First of all, 99% of Screen Actors Guild doesn't work. They're going, so you ordered fries with that, right? That's really what most of them do outside of hopefully getting a job in the industry. Residuals, royalties, different things. Again, my average check is like $12 to $18 for whatever it is. And it's not like I get 10 of these a week.
Yeah.
Every so often I get a check. There's a reason why the studios are rich, and this has been documented many, many times, that no matter what show, what film it is, nothing is profitable. I don't know if you're aware, but Universal, Sony, TriStar, Warner Brothers, wherever they are, they're all nonprofits. None of them make any money. So no matter what film it is, it doesn't make money. Forrest Gump cost $35 million. It made $300 million. According to the studio, it made no money.
I
This
got
is how the game is. They have creative bookkeeping.
I got nothing.
They got exactly. So for people who are listening who want to know kind of how do things work and how come this, I'm telling you, this is how it works. They keep all the money. If you have enough money to sue them, go after them, you better be looking for a lot of money because it costs 75 to 100,000 to do a forensic accounting. And if they only owe you 100,000 and you spend 80 on lawyers, congratulations, you made 20 grand.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's how this game works.
I get it, man. Well, thank you so much.
We love our fans. We would love people to come out and support. November 10th, 11th, 12th. Clevelandfilm.com is the website.
And when we
Ralphie's coming home. This is once in a lifetime. It took me almost 3 years to convince him to do this.
well,
It really did.
the way that we do this is we're recording now. We'll pop it up and it'll be on YouTube and on Facebook, and we'll put all the links in to the event as well as any kind of information that's available. So
that'd be great.
Sound good?
Sounds terrific.
All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. And that's all I got, man. I'm looked at my calendar, so there's a good chance I'll probably get a chance to meet you in person. I should be able to get out there. So
that's fantastic. So all the listeners have a happy and a healthy holiday season. Don't eat too much, but enjoy and have fun.
All right, Scott. Thank you so much, and you take care now.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.